What is going on, everybody? Been a diehard Pistons fan since 2003 and starting to get cautiously optimistic about this Pistons team. If you can say one thing about the Detroit Pistons season so far, it's that the games have been interesting, and tonight was no exception to that rule. Absolute craziness as the Pistons win against the Miami Heat 125 to 124 in overtime. We're going to go through, highlight three key performances that I do want to talk about, and then just give some general thoughts on this game because it was just absolutely insane. So, first guy that we have to highlight, no questions asked, the hero of the day, it is Tim Hardaway Jr. Tim Hardaway Jr., if you just look at the box score, you might be wondering why he's the first one we're mentioning here, as he had 16 points on 5 of 11 shooting with 2 boards and 2 assists. But Tim Hardaway Jr. completely dug the Pistons out of a grave, which would have led to probably the worst loss of the season. The Detroit Pistons were up 18 in the fourth quarter, and then they let the Miami Heat get all the way back into the game, force overtime. In overtime, they went down by, I think, 8 points until Tim Hardaway Jr. decided to hit back-to-back-to-back three-pointers to get the Pistons a 1-point lead, and that is ultimately what they ended up winning the game with. Just an absolutely crazy 3 minutes or whatever it was of basketball for Tim Hardaway Jr. in overtime. So needed, because I felt it in my stomach that we were going to lose that game when we were down 8 in overtime, and I was already feeling the disappointment set in until Tim Hardaway Jr. decided to be the hero. So shout out to Tim Hardaway Jr. The charges that he took also played a key role in order to build the lead that we did have, and then blew until Tim Hardaway Jr. decided to go absolutely flamethrower mode and save the day for our Detroit Pistons. I'm just so ecstatic that he was able to knock down those 3 shots. Almost did turn the ball way over on the last possession with 9 seconds left, but we're not going to talk about that because the Pistons ended up winning the game on the back of those 3 threes. Next player that we do need to highlight is Malik Beasley. He finishes the game with 28 points, which ties a season high for Malik Beasley. 9 of 18 from the field, 7 of 13 from the three-point line, chipped in 3 boards and 4 assists as well. Malik Beasley had all of these 28 points before the game completely flipped on its head and went into overtime, but he's the reason why we had built the lead, or at least one of the biggest reasons why we built the lead offensively. So shout out to Malik Beasley, continuing to be just an absolute baller, normally off the bench for us, but tonight starting in place of Jaden Ivey, and stepped up and did his thing. Last player that I do want to highlight is going to be Assar Thompson. Assar finished with 19 points, which I assume has to be a season high for him. 9 boards, 1 assist, 4 steals, and 1 block. Those 4 steals and 1 block do not tell the whole story for how impactful he was defensively. I really don't think that we would have had any way of containing guys like Tyler Hero or Jimmy Butler at certain parts of this game without Assar and his defense. Looking to start to come around now. 27 minutes is probably the highest he's played this year. Assar looks like he's back, and so happy to see that because the defense is very well needed. One weird thing about Assar, he finished like 3 layups where he was above the rim tonight and managed to miss them. Yes, there was some contests in there, but layups that you would expect to go in from any player that plays as above the rim as Assar does. And just kind of thinking, if he was able to actually convert on those 3 layups, which should be an easy enough problem to work out, that is 25 points instead of 19. So a lot of potential there. Sky is the limit for Assar. Happy to see him get 27 minutes tonight because he's starting to get more and more minutes as he ramps up to being back full time. And of course, I didn't have Cade as a highlight player, and that should go to show you how crazy Cade has been this season. That 20 points, 11 rebounds, triple-double, 18 assists. I mean, guys, I should have had Cade as a highlight player here tonight, but I just wanted to give the shine to Tim, Malik, and Assar because I felt like they played really, really good games, and I'd say Cade has probably been a highlight player on these videos 90% of the games this season. So kind of crazy that Cade did not get on the highlight reel here for the top 3 despite having a 20, 10, and 18 triple-double. But to be honest, these other guys really kind of stole the show. in different ways. So shout out to everybody on the team, man. It's hard to pick tonight. One other player we do need to talk about is Isaiah Stewart. He hyperextended his knee today in the first half of the game. Really just hoping for good news there, because as Isaiah Stewart has had a great year, we really can't afford to lose him for extended periods of time. So hoping that is nothing crazy. A quick Google search during halftime told me that the typical recovery time for a hyperextended knee is 6.4 days for NBA players. So if that's all it is for Isaiah Stewart, I'd say that was a win, all things considered. So kind of want to talk about just the game in general. The Pistons looked really, really good for the first 40 minutes of tonight's game. After 40 minutes, with 8 minutes remaining in the game, they were up 18 points, and then things started to really go downhill. They didn't score the ball from a field goal perspective for 7 minutes, and that was just really hard to watch after a night where they shot the ball really, really well and were able to consistently score. So I really don't even know what to conclude from all of this stuff. I'll have to go back and watch kind of the meltdown-ish part of this game again to really be able to wrap my brain around it, because just an emotional roller coaster of a game. Because my mood personally watching this game tonight went from, wow, this looks really, really good despite not having Ivy, Tobias, and Stu. Things are really clicking right now. I was impressed with Assar, Beasley, even Holland was having a good game, and Sasser rolling. And then things completely flipped on its head. We were incapable of scoring the ball. Tyler Hero started to get rolling. We went into overtime. It felt like, just from looking at their body language, the game was over until Tim Hardaway Jr. decided to go absolutely hero mode. And now the Pistons walk away with a 1-point win. So just a crazy game that I will need some more time to reflect on before I have any hard takeaways from. What I do know is this plays a big part in the season progression, the standings, all of that type of stuff, because right now the Pistons are now 11-16. If they're going to be trying to fight for this play-in spot, these are exactly the types of games that they need to win throughout the season that will quietly and sneakily creep up on them, because we're playing against the Miami Heat here. We get a 1-point win. The Miami Heat also might be right in that contention for the play-in. So these games really matter, even though in the grand scheme of things, it might not feel like it on a random Monday in the middle of December. But these types of things add up, and the Pistons have been having a hard time finding wins over the past couple weeks. A lot of that you can chalk up for different reasons. We had to play the Celtics twice, play the Bucks on the night that they got hotter than fish grease. I could, make some excuses, and at the same time, there has been some players out, but all in all, they have started to slide a little bit record-wise, so it's really, really nice to be able to get this win tonight, and also nice because the rest of the season here, throughout the end of the year until the new year, it gets pretty tough. We have to play the Jazz here on Thursday, and then after that, we're out west to play the Suns, Nuggets, Kings, Lakers, which will be a really tough road schedule throughout the holiday break. So being able to get a win here, especially when it looked like it wasn't going to happen, is a pretty big deal. So let me know what you guys think, and we'll catch up soon.